Um, so we were solving the problems of standard deviation and coefficient of variance. Standard deviation, we have solved enough problems. So we were solving coefficient of variation or variance with individual series and discrete series. So today let us see a problem on continuous series. So here is the problem given to us. So you're given below the daily wages paid to workers in two factories. So always coefficient of variation is given, which means there will be some comparison to be done between the two. So two factories A and B is given to us. So which factory pays higher average wages? So please understand, they're asking us to calculate higher average wages. Average means, again, arithmetic mean you have to find, that is nothing but X bar. Next, in which factory are wages more variable? More variable means we are supposed to find out coefficient of variation. So we have to find arithmetic mean, we have to find coefficient of variation, which means to find coefficient of variation, we are supposed to find standard deviation and arithmetic mean. Okay, so we are supposed to find both standard deviation and arithmetic mean, then only we will be able to calculate coefficient of variation or coefficient of variance. So let us see the data given. The daily wages is given to us in continuous series. So if you can see here, they have given to us in the class intervals. Now these class intervals are supposed to be considered for solving the problem. And then we have two frequencies, that is number of workers in factory A. Okay, number of workers in factory A and number of workers in factory B. Both of them are frequencies. Like the previous problem, that is discrete series, where we had the data of age of boys and girls in class. Similarly, here they have given us number of workers for factory A as well as factory B. Now let us solve this problem. Let us find out X bar and coefficient of variance and give the conclusion. So we are drawing a table where we will be finding mean and standard deviation using the table. The table also is very similar to the discrete series, but the calculation of the deviations are little different. Okay, so that is the main thing here to note. You will have to be careful in solving the arithmetic mean and standard deviation because the formulas differ for discrete for individual series, discrete and continuous series. Now let's understand. First we have taken the class intervals, however it was given in the problem, that is from 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90 until 100 to 110. So we have solved, we have taken the same information from the question. If you can see here, see until 110. So we have taken the same data. Now, whenever we have a continuous series, we are supposed to find out midpoint or the mid value. Now, how do we find the mid value? Add the lower limit and upper limit and then divide them by 2. So, which is nothing but 50 plus 60 dividing by 2. That will give you 55. Next, 60 plus 70 by 2, which is 65. 70 plus 80 by 2, 75. 80 plus 90 by 2, 85. Like this, we are supposed to find the mid value or the midpoint. So whenever there is continuous series, calculate the midpoint, that is compulsory. Then after this, you're supposed to find the deviations. Now, deviations are to be understood and deviations are to be calculated using the formula mid value minus assumed mean. So we are using assumed mean in all of our problems. So how do we find deviations? Mid value, that is m minus a divided by I. If you remember, this is how we calculated the standard deviation for continuous series. So that is nothing but m minus a divided by I is nothing but common value. Now here also we have a nice difference between each of the numbers. So if you see the difference here in between these two, 55 to 65, 75, all in between these numbers, this is 95. Okay, so all between these numbers you have the difference of 10. Okay, so 10 will be our common value, and m is the mid value, a is the assumed mean. So here we are supposed to calculate the assumed mean. So we'll just take the central value of the midpoint. So if you see, I'm just considering, or I'm just assuming 85 as the assumed mean. You can take any number. Again, midpoint, you can take from the midpoint, you can take assumed mean as any number. So I'm taking 85 as assumed mean. Now, let us consider that and solve the deviations. Now deviations in continuous, we call them as d dash. Okay, you have a small apostrophe kind of notation here, so that is called d dash. So m is 55. 55 minus 85 divided by 10. 10 is the common value that is between all the three. So m minus 85 by 10, that will be 55 minus 80 by 85 by 10. 55 minus 85 will be 30. 30 by 10. Sorry, this is minus 30. Okay, minus 30. Minus 30 by 10 will give you a value of minus 3. Okay, next, similarly, 65 minus 85. 65 minus 85 will give you minus 20. Minus 20 by 10 will be minus 2. Then 75 minus 85 by 10. 75 minus 85 is minus 10. Minus 10 divided by 10 will give us minus 1. Then 85 minus 85 by 10. So that is 0. 85 minus 85 is 0. 0 by 10 is 0 again. Next, 95 minus 85 by 10. That will be plus 10 by 10, which is 1. Then again 105 minus 85 by 10. That will be 20 by 10, which is 2. So we found out d dash using this formula. Then we are supposed to find the squares. Now after finding d dash, we are supposed to find the square of them. That is nothing but just multiply these numbers by itself. So minus 3 into minus 3 is plus 9. Then minus 2 into minus 2 is 4. Minus 1 into minus 1 is 1. Like this, we are going to calculate the squares. So that will be your d dash square. So this will be the first part of calculation which is common for x. Okay, did you all understand the first four columns that I taught here? How to form or how to find the deviations and deviation square. Can you please leave it in chat if you have any doubt? Okay, so let's continue. Now, once we find all these deviations, now we will consider the frequencies. So we have only solved this part, okay, daily wages, only this part is completed. Now let's consider daily wages and A, that is number of workers. These two we will be considering. Now in this, let's go to factory A. Now, factory A, the frequencies are 10, 15, 22, 23, 10 and 5. This we will get in the question. You see here in the question we have the frequencies here. This is what is the frequency we have considered here also. Okay, so the frequencies are taken, and when you add up all the frequencies, you get the total n, that is nothing but 85. Okay, so that will be the complete value of n for factory A. Now next, after this, we are supposed to find FD dash. Very similar to the discrete series problem. We find D dash and D dash square here. In the discrete series, we only find d and d square. Okay, so since it's a continuous series, we name it as d dash for not to get confused ourselves. Okay, now let's multiply this d dash, this deviations which we have found out, this d dash values. Let us multiply this column into the frequencies. Here you can see both of them, I've marked it in green. Okay, so these two has to be multiplied for us to get the values of fd dash. Okay, so that once we multiply them, minus 3 into 10 minus 30, minus 2 into 15 minus 30, minus 1 into 22 is minus 22, 0 into 223 is 0. So like this we are supposed to uh, we are supposed to multiply both the columns to find the value of fd dash. Now once we find the value of fd dash, so this is step 2 for factory A. Now the next step, after this we are supposed to consider the next column, that is fd dash square. So we already have frequency, we also have calculated d dash square. Now multiply this d dash square into frequency. Okay, once again frequency into fd dash, these two you have to multiply. When you multiply these two, you will be able to get this column, that is fd dash square. So for I will just repeat this factory A only. We have already found out d dash square. Okay, let me erase all of this. Okay, or we have already found out d dash. Multiply d dash into f, which will give you f d dash. Then again multiply d dash square into f, which will give you fd dash square. Now after calculating all the three columns, add them up, you will get the major numbers required for calculation, that is n is equal to 85, sigma fd is equal to minus 62, sigma fd square is equal to 202. So these are the main numbers required for us for calculation. So this was for factory A. Anybody has doubt in calculation of factory A? You can leave it in chat. Everybody understood factory A? Okay, now let's go to factory B. Now similarly, how we solve for factory A, factory B also we will be solving. Now for factory B, okay, so for factory B, frequency is taken from the question. The same frequencies from the question. You can see here these frequencies are only considered. So these frequencies are taken here. Again n is 85. So here n is same for both of them, and then you have fd dash. So we have already calculated, the d dash here. Okay, d dash is already calculated. Now multiply d dash into frequency, which will give you fd dash. Again multiply the same frequency into d dash square. Okay, again multiply the same frequency into d dash square to get fd dash square. So first what we are supposed to multiply? For first we are supposed to multiply frequency into d dash. Okay, frequency into d dash. So what do we get? Fd dash square. Then after this we are supposed to multiply same frequency, again same frequency is multiplied with d dash square. Okay, so what we will get? Fd dash square. We are going to get this value here. So once we do all of this, again we'll get the main numbers. Okay, again we'll get the main numbers here, which we are supposed to use for calculation. So this completes the table. Okay, this completes the table here for calculation of mean and standard deviation. Does anybody has doubt in the complete table? Everybody understood the table? Okay, now let's go for the calculation. Now, the calculation part, we are first solving x bar or arithmetic mean. So, we are solving arithmetic mean first for A as well as factory B. So, for A, we are using assumed mean formula. Okay, you can use the normal formula also, but here we are using assumed mean formula for continuous series. So, A plus sigma fd dash by n into I. We have already found out d dash, so that is why it is easy for us to calculate using arithmetic mean under assumed mean method. So assumed mean for us was 85, which we already considered here. Okay, assumed mean was 85 for us, and then A plus sigma fd dash. Okay, sigma fd dash is minus 62 for A, only for factory A we are considering, which was minus 62 divided by n. N is nothing but 85. Okay, n is nothing but 85 into 10. This is only for factory A. So when we simplify this, we get the arithmetic mean of 77.71. Okay, so I'll just repeat this calculation of arithmetic mean. X bar A is equal to A plus sigma ft dash by n into I. So assumed mean was already considered to be 85 plus sigma fd dash is nothing but minus 62. This is for factory A, divided by n is 85 into 10. 10 is nothing but the common value that we found, or the difference or the class interval value that we have here. So that is 10. Okay, so that is the total value which we have calculated in, and we get the arithmetic mean of 77.71. Similarly, let us consider for factory B. Now for factory B, again we are taking the same formula to find the arithmetic mean. The assumed mean remains the same because it is for both factory A as well as factory B. So assumed mean remains same. And what is the sigma fd dash? Okay, which we calculated here. So sigma fd dash is equal to, okay, sigma fd dash is equal to 55 minus 55. Okay, minus 55 divided by n. N is again 85. Minus 55 by 85 into 10. Common value remains same. When once you simplify them, you will get a arithmetic mean of 78.53. So if you see for factory A, the arithmetic mean is 77.71. For factory B, it is 78.53. And I've told in case of arithmetic mean, you will have to see the highest value. So highest arithmetic mean, that is the more average factory, is a good performing factory. So that is what is the conclusion for arithmetic mean. Now after this, let us go on and calculate the standard deviation and coefficient of variance. This is for factory A and this is for factory B. Okay, both are given to us. Now let us solve this. Now standard deviation for continuous series. So standard deviation of factory A is equal to square root of sigma fd dash square by n minus sigma fd dash square should not come inside. Okay, fd dash by n whole square. Okay, square is supposed to come outside. Okay, this they have done a little mistake in the calculation on the textbook. So fd dash by n whole square into I. The same thing here also. So square is supposed to come outside the bracket. Now let us put on the values. Fd dash square. Fd dash square is this value here. Okay, Fd dash square is this value here for A, and again for B also. So it is 202 and 187. So we have taken 202 for A, 187 for B, divided by 85. N value is 85 in both the cases, minus sigma Fd dash. Sigma fd dash, let us see here, sigma fd dash is 62. You see this value here, minus 62 and minus 55. So these two values we will be considering here, that is minus 62 by 85, that is nothing but n, again minus 55 by 85. Now let us simplify these formula values. Square root of 202 by 85 will give you a total of 2.378. Okay, 202 by 85 will give a value of 2.378 minus this whole expression of minus 62 by 85 whole square will give a value of 0.532. Okay, 0.532 into common value is 10. Similarly, for factory B also, 187 by 85 is 2.2. Again, this whole expression of minus 55 by 85 whole square is 0.4187. This whole expression is taken. You can also solve it step by step, or you can solve it like this also. Okay, into 10 is the common value. Now let's go on to the next step. Square root of, when I subtract these two values, okay, when I subtract these two values, I get 1.844 into 10. Do not multiply 10 at any step here. Only in the last step, after taking out or after calculating the square root, you have to multiply 10. So be very careful with that. Okay, now so here 2.2 minus 0.4187 into 10. So once you subtract these two values within the square root, you get square root of 1.7813 into 10. So that is the value. Now again, when you find out the square root here, you're going to get the value of 1.3579. Okay, you're going to get the value of 1.3579. This is the point was extra. Okay, 1.3579 is the total value. Now once you get those values here, just hold on a second. Okay, once you get those values here, 1.3579, when you multiply them with 10, okay, when you multiply them with 10, you get a total value of 13.597. Okay, you get a total value of standard deviation to be 13.597. This is not percentage, though there are a lot of mistakes in the textbook calculations. So 13.597 here. Similarly, when you take the square root, 1.334. Now 1.334 must be considered multiplied with 10. When you multiply them with 10 here, you're gonna get the value of 13.34. Okay, so 13.34 is the total standard deviation. Do not take this as percentage. 13.34 is the total standard deviation. Okay, so next, after finding arithmetic mean, so we know what is x bar for A and we know what is x bar for B, and we also calculated standard deviation for A and standard deviation for B. Now let's calculate the coefficient of variation. Now coefficient of variation formula is standard deviation by arithmetic mean into 100. So this x bar has gone up. Okay, that's x bar, arithmetic mean into 100. Now standard deviation, which we already calculated, is taken directly, and arithmetic mean, which we calculated here, 77.71, is considered into 10. You get 17.47% for factory A. Okay, this is for factory A. Next, for factory B, when you calculate, this is gonna be same formula. 13.34 is the standard deviation here, divided by the same arithmetic mean, 78.53, which we calculated. So 78.53 into 100 will give you a coefficient of variation of 16.99%. So this is the calculation of your standard deviation, arithmetic mean, and coefficient of variation. Did you all understand this problem completely? Anybody has doubt in this problem? Before I go to the conclusion, did you all clearly understand the problem? Okay, so now let us go to the conclusion. Thank you for the messages. Let's go to the conclusion. Now, factory B pays higher average wages because X bar is more. Now let us see what is the arithmetic mean of factory B. Now if you take the arithmetic mean of factory B, you can see them giving their average wages is, or their average is 78.53. But when you see factory A, it is 77. So clearly B is paying more wages, since the arithmetic mean is more, which means factory B is paying more wages. So that is your first conclusion. Next, since CVA, that is coefficient of variation for A here, is more, okay, because this is more, it means wages in factory A is more variable. So this is what they've asked us in question. So let's go back to the question and just check what they've asked once again. So the first, they have asked us which factory pays higher average wages, which we found out clearly to be factory B, because their arithmetic mean is more than factory A. Now if you take the second question, they are saying which factory wages are more variable. More variable means more distributed. It is, the difference is too much in which factory they're asking. So that can be, the conclusion can be given after finding out the CV. Now in CV, if the CV is more, it means it is more variable. Okay, if the CV is more, means it is more variable. If the CV is less, it means it is more uniform, or it is more stable value, it is more uniform, you can say. So since they have asked us variable, we will consider factory A, which has more value. So that is why CVA is more, wages in factory A is more variable. So please do not get confused with CV conclusions. More value, more the CV, it is more variable. Less the CV, it is more uniform. Okay, so did you all understand the conclusion part? Conclusions are very important in the examination. Without conclusions, you will be missing out at least 2 to 3 marks. Minimum of 2 marks will be cut if you don't give conclusions for questions which demand conclusions at least. Okay, so everybody understood this problem. Great. We'll solve one more problem. It's a very small problem. Okay, so let's see what is there in this problem. You can expect such problems for 6 marks. Okay, 6 marks they can ask the problems. Okay, the arithmetic mean of runs scored by 3 batsmen. Okay, three batsmen, that is they've given Sachin, Suresh and Sehwag. Okay, they've given us 3 batsmen and the arithmetic mean in their 100 innings. Okay, they've taken 100 matches, so they've given us the arithmetic mean of all of them. Now in that arithmetic mean, let us see what are those arithmetic mean. So x bar of 3 of them are given, and whenever they say respectively, it means each person, like however they have given the name, that person, the first name arithmetic mean is given first. So which means Sachin average runs were 48, Suresh average runs were 43, Sehwag average runs were 44. So that is what it means for respectively. Then the standard deviation of their runs are 12, 10 and 9. So they've given standard deviation of Sachin to be 12, standard deviation of Suresh is 10 and standard deviation of Sehwag is 9. Then who is the most consistent of the three? If one of the three is to be selected, who will be selected? So they are again asking us 2 questions. Who is more consistent here? Who is a very good sportsman or the batsman to be chosen upon for the next match? So who has to be selected? So that is also asked. Now let us first break down this question into a data. Okay, whatever is given to us. Okay, so first they had given us the arithmetic mean. Okay, so the first they gave us the arithmetic mean. So arithmetic mean, x bar of Sachin is 48, x bar of Suresh is 43, x bar of Sehwag is 44. That is what we have written here. Okay, so this is 44. Next, standard deviation. Okay, standard deviation are given. So standard deviation of Sachin is 12, standard deviation of Suresh is 10, and standard deviation of Sehwag is 9. Okay, so that data is also considered. Now, to find the consistency, okay, always to find the consistency, just calculate. If you find the word consistent in the question, calculate CV. It's a rule. Okay, if you find the consistency question, blindly calculate CV, that is coefficient of variation. Now, once you calculate coefficient of variation, you have all the data required. So what is the formula? Standard deviation divided by x bar into 100. So you have all the information given to you. You just have to calculate the uh, percentage of CV. So for Sachin, it is 12. 12 is standard deviation divided by 48. Uh, X bar is 48 into 100. So Sachin's CV is 25. Similarly for Suresh, 10 by 43 into 100, 23.25. Again for Sehwag, 9 by 44. Okay, this is 44 and not 42. There's some printing mistake. Okay, 9 by 44 into 100 is 20.45. So we have calculated the CV or all the three batsmen given here. Now, once we calculated the CV, we have to give the conclusion. So, especially in such problems, conclusions forms a major part because there is not much of calculation and they are only asking us who is a consistent player. Now, let us see how to do the conclusion. Since CV is lesser, Sehwag is the most consistent of the three. So, when it comes to consistency, you have to choose a player with less CV because consistency means they will be scoring similar number in every match. For example, if I take a student to be consistent, that student has to get marks. Let's say student A is getting 85 in all the tests and all the exams, so that student is consistent, so they get very similar marks or nearby to 80 marks all the time, so that is consistency. But if one student is getting too much of difference, in one test they will get 10, in other test they will get 15, another test they will get 50, so in exam they will get 80. So like this, when there is too much of difference, they are known as variable. Okay, here they are asking us the consistency, so we'll have to see, we are taking Sehwag because the CV is very less, which means they are uniform. So if you remember, I also told when CV is less, which means they are more uniform, which means they are very consistent. Then, if selection is based on the consistency, so there, this we answered first question, who is more consistent. Now the second question, if one of the three is to be selected, who will be selected? So that selection, if the selection is done on the basis of consistency, then again I will be considering Sehwag only in the next match. Okay, if I make a selection on consistency, I will take Sehwag only. It is something like, if I make decision, if I make selection of a student on based of marks, I will always choose a student to be into the team. So similarly, here also, if it's based on consistency, Sehwag is considered. Then if the selection is based on average runs, there are two things. So first was based on consistency. The second selection criteria was based on average runs. Now average runs we have got here, Sachin, Suresh and Sehwag. So if you are based on the average runs, then if you compare the numbers 48, 43, 44, if it's based on the average runs, you always have to consider the highest number. So in that case, Sachin is to be selected as X bar of Sachin is greater. So I hope everybody is able to understand. So when you're taking X bar or arithmetic mean as criteria, consider the highest number. If you take CV as the criteria, consider the lowest number for the consistency. Okay, did you all understand this problem? Any doubts with this problem? You can expect such questions. Such questions are repeated in the examination also. You can check the question paper. Okay. Okay, we'll stop the class here for today. Thank you, students.